Washington mornings on the Mall. And AM 630.
8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, and on the line, our good friend from the Fox News Channel, the host of Special Report with Bret Baier. Bret Baier is on the line. Hey, Bret.
Good morning.
So the numbers just came out, the jobless numbers. The unemployment rate has gone up a tick to 8.2%. Only 69,000 jobs were created in May, and that is not likely to sit well on the markets when they open a short time later. Politically, what does this mean?
This is a big deal, a really big deal. The analysts were expecting 150,000. This is 69,000, which is anemic. It comes after 1.9% growth announcement, and you have an uptick in the unemployment rate, which really doesn't reflect where the economy truly is, because you have a lot of, according to analysts, a lot of people who are leaving the jobs market, who have given up looking. So it's not really a true reflection. And then if you add underemployment, you've got really up into the teens an underemployment situation. So the bottom line politically is, if this continues into June, July, and then that final number, and I say final because by the time we get to August, most people believe the economy is baked in the cake for most voters. That is going to be a real uphill battle for President Obama.
Yeah, and you're starting to see some pessimism out there from a lot of different people when it comes to what's happening in Europe right now. I mean, we've been talking about an implosion in Europe for years, but it seems to be picking up some steam, and hey, they could really have some problems, and maybe that could come to our shores, and these latest numbers aren't too good. So you have to go ahead, Bret.
Well, I think a lot of people focus on Greece, and Greece is not even the issue now. I think most people now who look at this full time say Greece is not a problem. In the big picture, it's really Spain, the banks there, the weakness of those banks, and how that affects the world market, including here in the U.S.
Meanwhile, the nominee, or the guy who's going to be the nominee for the Republicans yesterday, Mitt Romney, was out at Solyndra. What'd you make of that campaign move from Mitt Romney yesterday?
Well, you know what was interesting is that the campaign didn't signal. They didn't put it on the schedule. It kind of just popped up. And that's an interesting move in today's day and age with Twitter and Facebook and 24/7 news. And that, you know, it just, there wasn't the pre-story to the Solyndra appearance. He's obviously going to use Solyndra, the $500 million, federal infusement for that loan, taxpayer dollars backing up that loan that fell apart. So he's going to use that as an example. The Romney campaign thought it was a good stop.
Yeah, it was a pretty good stop for him, and at the same time, we had this event going on at the White House where President Obama had to make nice with former President Bush. That was actually sort of a warm moment. You actually know or have spent a lot of time with President Bush. Both you covered him, and then you've done interviews with him after he left office. What did you think about that event?
Well, I thought it was great. Brian, I just thought it was good for the country. I mean, for all the back and forth and kind of acerbic politics that we do day to day, it was great to see President Obama say, hey, thanks for the cable sports package. I really like it. And President Bush to tell the story about, Dolly Madison saving George Washington's portrait and asking Michelle, you need to save this GW now. It was just funny moments that I think was that transcended the politics that we face every day.
All right, there's a big election next week in Wisconsin. It appears right now, at least, that Scott Walker will win. We also have in June, we're expecting the Supreme Court to perhaps come out with a ruling on Obamacare. So there's a lot that's going to happen this month that may be a foreshadowing of what we could see in November with the outcome of the election.
It's crazy. They say summer is really slow in Washington. That is not the case this time. I mean, you have so much stuff happening. We talked about the Euro and the concerns about Spain. You have the Supreme Court that could come really any moment. Most people are guessing mid-month.
Wow. And
then we're heading to Wisconsin, taking the show on the road, because this recall election is seen as really a harbinger of the battle between states and unions and pensions. And I think, anybody that downplays the significance of this is not telling the full story.
And so as you look at the electoral math right now, I mean, a lot of people look at it, and when you get down to the real numbers, saying it's still a real hard climb for Romney given the way the electoral math breaks. What do you think?
Well, I think that may change. Listen, any incumbent president has the advantage, as you know.
Right.
But if the economy is what we saw today in those jobs numbers, I think you're going to start to see some of those states sliding on President Obama's numbers. And you're already seeing some states shift. North Carolina, Iowa, Wisconsin. And those are key states. Now, you can add up to 270 still for President Obama right now, but if the economy continues to kind of sputter along or even get worse, that's going to be a tougher climb for him.
All right, Bret. Always good to have you on. Thanks very much.